Welcome to the Tattoo Marketing Podcast. On this week's episode, we have Tye Harris, owner of Faces in the Dark Tattoo. We talk about leveraging Google Ads to help grow your studio, the importance of customer service, the reality of being a tattoo artist, and how to grow on Instagram. Goddamn people. If you can hear, there's construction next door. Anyway, great episode. Enjoy. But yeah, man, I appreciate you joining us.
Absolutely.
Cool to be able to talk with owners that have, grown a good studio. And it's when I talk to people like yourself, there seems to be a handful of things that you guys have all done, like personality-wise, shop culture, everything like that. And it's really on top of obviously having amazing artists, it's treating clients amazing, making them feel at home, just these things that I've noticed in all shops that have expanded like yours, which is pretty cool.
For sure, customer service and treating the clients like they're friends and family, and like that seems to be a big theme in successful shops. These shops that are just like, come in here, give me your fucking money and get out, and no respect. You know what I mean? Like that shit business that way. So it seems like a lot of shops these days are realizing treat your customer right. You know what I mean? The days of just being like, hey bro, I'm the fucking tattooer, you want it or not. Those days are over. You gotta sell yourself now.
Yeah, when I got my first tattoo 18 years ago, that was definitely the shop culture. It was by this Cholo that did not give a fuck. He like, get in the chair, here, get out.
Yeah,
okay.
Got somebody else right after you. That's all they care. You know what I mean? And I've been tattooing for 18 years, so that's how it was in my first shop. That old school mentality. Customers weren't really important. Clients didn't really matter. It's just more how much money you can make that day.
Yep, definitely changed. Tell me a little bit about your studio, man.
We opened in 2016. Yeah, man. I mean, when I opened, I just kind of wanted to open up as like a private studio. I was tattooing in my house here in Kyle, had like the guest room all made up like a shop, and I was doing that for years. And so I just wanted to work with artists. I just got burnt out of just tattooing alone, So I wanted to open up a little private studio and just get one or two artists in there and just to have some people to work with, But it took off pretty quick and people started coming in the doors and calling. And I was like, fuck, we should make this maybe just like, tattoo shop. Like, let's get some artists in here. There's tattoos to do. So yeah, it's just kind of grown organically, really. I haven't really like forced anything as far as like we lost an artist, got to get an artist in here, or why isn't that chair full this day? We got to get, we got to make something happen. Like I've just really kind of like took it easy and let the artists come to us and found people that just you happen to stumble upon. You know what I mean? But yeah, the shop's been doing really good. All kinds of different styles, different artists can handle kind of any tattoo you want.
How many artists do you have, or artists and apprentices do you ever know?
There's 9 of us total artists. I don't really fuck with the apprentice thing. I tried it a couple of times. It's not my jam. I got 2 cats. That's the only pets I need.
There you go. It is definitely interesting in tattooing. The apprenticeship is so unlike, training, I guess, for any other industry, because it's, there's so many facets to it. Not only is it, an art, but you are, like, if let's say you're doing carpentry and you fuck up the, putting a stud in, well, you can fix that. That's easy. It's a lot harder to fix a crooked line or something like that.
Yeah, man. And it's just, and it is a different time for tattooing from when I started. And like apprentices 15, 20 years ago, they just weren't, there's a different mentality for the shops. And so that kind of was a different mentality for the apprentices. You know what I mean? you kind of lost all these old school, hardcore biker type shops, you know? And, you know, you got kind of these artsy younger kids that are nice and respectful and like thinking about the clients and stuff like that. They're not being, it's hard to be an asshole to an apprentice. And you kind of have to be a fucking asshole to an apprentice to pound it into their head like, hey, man, I'm giving you something. You know what I mean? It's just really hard. I think honestly, you get more respect tattooing if you just start trying it and you see how fucking hard it is, and you keep fucking up, but you keep trying and you want it that bad. You're willing to feel like shit about yourself every night until these tattoos get good, you know?
Yeah.
And there's some people that do the apprentice thing great. It's just not for me. I got too much shit to think about to be worrying about not just this one person, but like teaching them the whole aspect of being a tattooer, you know, because tattooing is such a small part of being a tattoo artist. It's like, you got to know how to handle yourself. You got to have this like life work separation thing. You got to focus on your other relationships. You got to play the tattoo politics bullshit. You know what I mean? There's so much that you got to be able to do. You can't just show up just like it's just a job and like, okay, cool, here's my tattoo, and you don't have to fucking talk to nobody, and then you go home and make your money. Like, it's this whole spectrum of being a tattoo artist that you have to teach an apprentice, you know? And it's just so much. It's just so much to mentor someone like that.
Yeah, it seems like people that don't really know the industry and want to get into it think of tattooing as just like this awesome, fun, sexy job, and they don't understand like, no, you're going to show up and you're going to draw for 4 hours, and then you get the tattoo for, you know, a couple hours, and then you're going to clean the shop, and it's not.
Yeah, it's not all these. It's not the shit you see on TV, you know. And that's the thing now with a lot of people that are wanting to get into tattooing. These 19, 20-year-olds is that's their basis of it. You know what I mean? They were 13 watching these tattoo shows with their parents, and that's how they fell in love with tattooing. And not to say it's a bad thing. I think the show's been great for tattooing, but I think it's given a lot of young people this false impression that it's like you're a fucking rock star. You know what I mean? Like, nah, bro, we're going to work. You know, all these guys are going home to their families. We're paying our fucking mortgage. We're just as worried about our taxes as anyone else. It's like, it's not all rainbows and sunshine being a tattooer. And I think that's what these shows have kind of shown people. You know, this half hour of just, oh yeah, it's fucking sick, and look at us, we're all badasses. It's like, yeah, that's just not really the reality of it, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So I had Jason Elliott on the podcast a couple weeks ago, who was on Ink Master, and even that, like you know, he's like, it took like 4 days to film a single episode. Like what you guys see is just the tiniest little aspect. So even that, like he said, when they were getting critiqued by the judges, like, you know, you'd see 20, 30 seconds. He's like, no, we were up there for like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah,
But isn't that, you know,
they're like, bro, they shredded us for an hour. They stood there and talked shit about these tattoos for an hour. And I'm like, God damn, bro, it's just not for me. Not for some fucking rock star that know a goddamn. For somebody who has a fucking armband of tribal dolphins, you ain't gonna critique my tattoo. It's fucking happening. You know what I mean?
that was a thing back in the 90s, man.
Dude. Yeah. To think that's the dude to fucking judge good tattoos. All right.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting show. So when you decided to start your shop, you know, are you in the same city where you apprenticed or where you were tattooing?
Nah, man, I started tattooing professionally in San Antonio, and then I moved to San Marcos, which is about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And then I moved from San Marcos to Austin, which is like another 30 minutes. And then I just started traveling for years. And then I came back and I was like, fuck it, I'm just done traveling. I want to settle down. So I tried to get an apartment in Austin. I wasn't paying my taxes at that time. I didn't have like no proof of income. So it was hard to find a spot. Tried Austin, tried San Marcos. And there's this little town, Kyle, right in between San Marcos and Austin. I was like, fuck it, let's try Kyle. So I was able to find me a house here in Kyle. And that's when I set up that little private studio in my house. Um, and then when it came time to open a shop, man, I looked in Austin at a couple spots, and I don't like going to Austin. I've never liked going to Austin, especially now, dude. The traffic is insane. All these Californians are there. You know what I mean? Um, and just going to look at spots, I was like, what the fuck, dude? We've been in traffic for 20 minutes, and like, I don't want to do this every day. That's in my mind. I'm like, I don't want to live in Austin, and I damn sure don't want to do this drive every day and then every night. And then I just was like, well, fuck, dude, people are coming to my house at Kyle from all over the fucking country. I had people coming from all over the world, travel and come to my house to get a tattoo. So I was just like, well, fuck, dude, they're coming to my house. They're going to come to a shop in Kyle, you know? So, and there's no shops in Kyle. So it seemed like a good fit. And I found a spot about a mile and a half up the road from my house. So yeah, no crazy traffic there or back. I might hit the one light. But
That's rough.
yeah, it can be rough. And even that pisses me off. I'm like, fucking light. But yeah, I mean that's really what happened with opening up here. It again, it's just kind of like organic. I didn't force the Austin thing. As soon as I had that feeling of like, wait a minute, this might suck. I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? I just pulled out Austin. So, yeah, it's been really good here in Kyle. I didn't realize this town needed a shop. I thought it was just going to be this little private studio and maybe a couple artists would want to work with me. And, yeah, man, we opened up. I did some advertising and stuff just to let the town know we were going to open up. And yeah, it took off pretty quick.
So do the majority of the clients you work with come from Kyle, or are they traveling still from bigger cities?
Yeah, really all of the artists there. Most of our clients come from San Antonio, Austin, Houston, Dallas, and then, the surrounding areas of those cities. But yeah, a lot of people drive. In Texas, it's not, you tell somebody a 3-hour drive in fucking like New York or Michigan or something, they're like, 3 hours. You know what I mean? Texans are like, oh, 3 hours, bro, that's not too bad. Like, I mean, bro, you drive 9 hours and not even be out of the state.
It's so crazy. That's nuts.
We get a lot of people that are willing to make the drive. And then there are some clients that fly in every couple months to work on their pieces.
I mean, that really goes to show you, the quality of your work. I know, myself personally, like, if there's a good artist, like, I'll fly across the country to see him. That's the rest of my life on my body, and I want it to look good. So,
and I think a lot more people are realizing that now too, because I've seen a lot more people these past 5 years or so that are willing to travel, like hop on a plane and travel, and it's like you said, dude, I mean, it's on there forever. What's another $1,000 for a plane ticket and a hotel room?
Agreed, man. One thing I did want to touch on, kind of backing up a little bit, is I was looking on your website, and it does mention that you have traveled a lot and tattooed across the world.
Yeah.
I'm super interested to hear about that. I love traveling, so.
Yeah, and once I left Austin, I'm trying to think of the age. I was probably 23, 24. I just wanted to get my name out there. I got out of a long-term relationship, and she was very, she didn't want me to travel and do conventions, stuff like that. And I knew that was the next natural step. Like, I had to get my name out there, So once that ended, I just started traveling a lot, man. I just said, fuck it. I went to Europe. I'd spend like three months a year in Europe for a few years, just traveling around from like Belgium to Holland, France, Italy, Germany. Went to Poland, got tattooed for Victor Portugal. Just like, got out there and just saw everything. And did a lot of conventions, a lot of guest spots. Made a lot of friends everywhere. So yeah, and then I came back to America and I got a minivan, and then I just drove around the country, just state to state, just tattooing. Get on Facebook. Like, hey, I'm gonna be in Northern California tattooing. Somebody in Seattle would hit me up. fuck it, I'll drive to Seattle after this. Boom, drive to Seattle, get a hotel room, tattoo, just like living like a nomad. And then I finally was just, when I was burnt out, I was like, fuck it, I just got to settle down. And I'm from Texas, and this is kind of always where I've always tattooed, was in this San Antonio, Austin area. So it just made sense for me to settle down here. My parents are about an hour and a half south. So it just made sense. It's where I knew people, I knew things.
Man, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
Sounds like so much fun.
When I had my shop here in Kyle, the house with the little studio in it, I also had an apartment in Brooklyn. So I would tattoo at the house in Kyle for 2 weeks, and then I would go to Brooklyn for 2 weeks, and I would tattoo the apartment there. So just back and forth from like New York to Kyle for about 2 years. So that was the New York days.
That's cool, man. That's sounds like a pretty perfect way to spend your 20s.
Yeah, dude, for sure. The 20s. Looking back on the 20s, it's look back on it with fondness, Yeah. But also when it's like you get that urge and you're like, damn, I could do that again. And then, I just flew to my California for 5 days for my buddy's wedding. And that'll knock that out of you real quick. Now I'm 37. I'm like, yeah, man, I definitely can't do this all the time. Like, this was a vacation. I'm fucking spent. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine picking up all my shit, living in hotels again. But yeah, man, in your 20s, you're just young, dumb, and full of cum. It's the way to live it for sure.
I mean, man, nowadays, you sleep wrong way or on a pillow and you're out for like 2 days. So
yeah, the fucking bed at the hotel threw my back out. Just sleeping threw my fucking back out.
Yep. Getting older is great. So much fun. So you moved out of your studio, out of the house, you rented somewhere. Are you still in the same place with all the growth you've had, or have you moved around a few times?
The shop?
Mm-hmm.
No, the shop's the same location we opened in. When I opened, all the units were kind of full. We were the second to the end unit, and there was a karate class, like a karate guy right on the end. Not too long before the pandemic hit, sometime in 2019, he just dipped out one day, just packed all his shit and left. I messaged management and I was like, hey, can I get it? So I got that spot. We knocked the wall down and then just expanded. So it was nice not to have to go find another spot, because shit around here is so expensive now, People, like, it's hard for a small business to open up in the Austin area now, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, we've just on that real quick, we've had the same thing. So small town, the middle of Washington State. Since the pandemic, everything has almost doubled, and everybody from Seattle is moving over here because to them it's still super cheap.
Yeah.
And to us, we're like, what is going on? Like, I can afford to buy a new house right now if I wanted.
Yeah, and they're just coming in cash.
Yep. Yeah. To them, it's nothing. So when did you decide to start taking on more artists? I mean, obviously you've grown a ton in the last 7 years. So when did you decide it was time?
Just kind of like the demand, you know what I mean? When we opened up, I got an artist in there for all my overflow and shit that I just didn't want to do anymore. It wasn't 3-4 months later, he's booked doing shit he wants to do. So I need somebody to do all of my overflow and all of your overflow. Get somebody else, you know what I mean? Get them booked. And it just kind of like, as it just keeps going down. So now it's, when we hire an artist now, you've got overflow from 8 people. We're all saying no to shit. Everybody there's booked 3 or 4 months. There's tons of tattoos that we just don't want to do, So when we bring somebody in, that's kind of what I tell somebody is, you may have to do some shit you don't want to do 2-3 months. You want a good paycheck, we'll get you a good paycheck. But just work with me you know, like post some shit, help me get your name out there. We'll post for you. And I just really tell them to focus on what style they want to focus on. You know, like you want to do realism, start doing realism. Get your girlfriend in here, get your buddy in here, do a free portrait. Let's give me something to show the clients. You know, when they email for a portrait and it says no artist specified, I want to be able to send them a portrait you just did and go, hey, you know, we just got this new artist in. He's looking to do more portraits, you know? So that's really how I get artists in, is when it makes sense. I'm not trying to like spread it real thin, you know, just pack people in there and have everybody booked for 2 weeks. And I'd rather have everybody in there have job security, feel good. Once somebody's booked out for 2 or 3 months, all right, cool. Let's start seeing if we can get somebody else in here, you know?
What is with that many artists in there? What's their dynamic like in the shop? I mean, you know, artists they're together so much in a small location. What's that like in your shop?
I know a lot of people say this and it sounds cliche, but it really is like a family. Like there's no conflict, or like you don't pull up and you see that one person's car in the parking lot and you're like, I guess they're here. You know, you don't even want to go in. Like it's,
Yeah.
And I've made a point, and I think being a tattoo artist for so long before you open a shop helps, because I know that that's the type of shit I hated. I know the type of shit that I didn't want to do, that I didn't think was right, or that I was like, what the fuck's this guy talking about when it came to shop owners? So yeah, I approach it like a tattoo artist. I want everyone to be happy. I try to alleviate as much bullshit from the artist client process as possible. You know, I just want you to focus on your tattoos. I don't want you to have to do 20 emails back and forth about, well, how big is it, or how much you charge an hour? How many hours will it take? Can you do the eyes blue? Why can't you do next Saturday? I really could do next Saturday. Like this is constant emails of back and forth where it's like, I'm trying to design a fucking tattoo. I'm trying to do all this shit. You know what I mean? So I try to make it where nobody really has to worry about nothing but tattoos, and put a lot of effort into getting artists in there that we're all on the same page as far as pretty much just not being an asshole, not taking shit too sensitive. We can all joke about the same things. You know, I do shop Christmas parties. We buy everybody presents on their birthdays. There's we got artist Aaron's donut Sundays every Sunday, guaranteed. Aaron's either walking in with a box of donuts or DoorDash is gonna bring a box of donuts, guaranteed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's just there really is that family vibe. I have UFCs where the artists come over to my house. We order pizza, we get drunk, we watch UFC. We're all friends on the PlayStation Network. You know?
Yeah.
It's and I've got 3 artists that have worked there 5-6 years. 3 artists that have worked there for 3 years, or 4 artists that have worked there for 3 years. So it's people don't just come and go, you know? Like if you come and go, it's because you came and we were all like, nah, it doesn't fit. It doesn't work. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, we put a lot of, and that also goes into like, I don't hire somebody based off just their fucking tattoos ever. I'm never just like, oh, look at the fucking work. Got to get them in here. When can you start? There's always a back and forth. We always do an interview. Always, whether it's going to be a Zoom if you live further away or if you live even reasonably close, come to the shop. Let's go in the office, sit down, talk. I want to know what kind of person you are a little bit, you know? So yeah, not to say we haven't had some shitheads in there. Of course, get somebody in 4 months later, you're like, what the fuck? This kid's an asshole. You know? But yeah, everybody gets along great. It's been pretty good. And I think a lot of that comes from everybody just kind of being busy. Everybody's got shit to do. There's no stepping on toes. There's no, well, why'd he get that tattoo? None of that shit. You know, it's like everybody's got shit to do. Come in, do their tattoos. I don't make people stay there hours. You know, like I was talking to a guy yesterday, you know, like Had to be there from open to close, no matter what. No matter what, tattoos or not. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that made sense to me when I was 20, sitting out of Southpaw, sitting outside the tattoo shop, just chain smoking, waiting for a tribal armband. That made sense. You open at 10 a.m., you close at 2 a.m. Bro, I got 14 hours. Fucking get me some tattoos. That was the mentality. But it's not really a thing anymore, man. Like, you don't have a tattoo today, go home. Go play fucking frisbee with your dog. Take your fucking wife to the movie. Like, why are you here? You know? And I tell people that, like, unless you're here working on a tattoo or you're making money, I don't expect you to be here. Anything else as far as emails or consults, like, well, we could deal with all that shit through email, you know? But yeah, so if somebody cancels last minute, I'm not like, hey, well, call somebody, get them in. It's early, bro. You can get somebody else in today. Oh, cool. Yeah, I got a cancellation? Fuck yeah, man. I'm jealous. Go home, play some game. You know, go grab a couple beers. Just to chill, just keeping it chill, man. You know, not like stressing about shit too much. Not like looking at the bottom line every week and going, well, what the fuck happened? Why'd we make this much? And then, you know, like, everybody's doing good. Everybody's thriving. Everybody's having a good time there, which is really all I wanted out of the shop. I wanted a bunch of cool tattooers doing cool tattoos that enjoyed being there. So,
two of the things that I've noticed that successful shop owners almost always say or have a mentality about is a good work-life balance, like you were talking about, and having a family, essentially a work family, like does stuff outside of work.
It's important. It's really important. I mean, I was the officiant at one of my artists' weddings in October. You know, like I married him and his wife. When she was pregnant, I was the first person he told. You know, like it's they're some of my best friends. And when they leave, they've been there 5-6 years. I've even told them, like, man, whenever you're ready to take off, go do your own thing, I'll help you. I'll go look at some spots with you. You know what I mean? I'll do everything I can to help you make the transition so that you can go off and do your own thing. And I just don't think that's the vibe with a lot of shops.
Yeah, usually when an artist leaves, it's seen as a competition and not their support.
I've done this. Like, hey man, I'm gonna take off in like a month. You know, I'm gonna go here try. Oh, a month? Fuck you, bro. Pack your shit the fuck out of my shop. Yeah, like. Okay. All right. I just told you I was going to make you money for another month, but I'll back my shit, I guess. So, and that's just the mentality with a lot of people. It's I don't get it. I really don't.
It does seem like it's changing. You know, obviously like we talked about in the last 18 years, that there's been a huge shift in the shops that are growing like yours. Have that different mentality. I mean, there's so many facets to having a successful studio outside of just doing amazing work.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you could have 4 dudes sitting in a room doing badass tattoos every single day, but nobody knows about it. Eventually people are gonna stop getting tattoos. You know what I mean? It's about the marketing. It's about all kinds of stuff.
Touching on marketing, what have you guys done to grow the shop?
Like I said, before we even opened, when we were still doing the build out, I started doing little ads on these pizza boxes, this local pizza place we have. I got it to where I was like on the bottom of the menus, like the coupons they tape on the pizza box. It had a little ad, Faces in the Dark, coming soon. I did like a lot of newspaper ads. You know, the local newspaper and like the local pamphlets they mail out to everybody, the junk mail. You know what I'm saying? A lot of internet ads, Google, a lot of Google. The Google ads has been really big with the website. We get most of our inquiries through the website. Some of them still come in through Instagram, Facebook, and stuff. But I mean, the biggest thing that's been advertising on is Facebook. The business Facebook advertising, and then the Google business. And then we keep kind of some consistent Instagram ads going for different artists, you know, different tattoos throughout the month.
Got it. Yeah. So, and I don't know if I can't remember if I told you this, but that's what our company does is marketing for tattoo studios.
Okay.
Um, and the wildest thing is talking to studio owners and them seeing it as an expense, not an investment. Like if you spend this much, like you should be making this much back. It's not like you're just like, hey, here, throwing money in there. Especially with Google. Google Ads for the clients we run it for is amazing because it's so uncompetitive because so many studios don't do it. It's crazy.
Tells you what your competitors are spending. When you set your budget, it's like people within an hour or 60-mile radius or whatever, your average spends $700. So that tells me tattoo shops are spending an average of $700 on Google ads. Fucking $2,500. Fuck you. Let's see. Your ads are going to be ran out in 10 days. You know what I mean? So, yeah, dude, once I started doing that shit, it's like, oh, okay, that's where it's at. It's like, you want to get followers, spend money on Instagram ads. You want 200,000 followers? Bro, spend $500 a week on Instagram ads. Put them in fucking Brazil or India. You'll get 200,000 followers in a few months. You want clients and real business and real money? Put it into fucking the real internet. Not this app. Put it into the real internet, Google, because that shit's going to pop up in so many different places.
And the fact that it's somebody that is actually looking for a tattoo studio versus someone just scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, like the intent of that person is so much higher, especially if they're going to actually go to your website, give you a call, or fill out a form or something. That's easy money. And it's super scalable. It is insanely scalable.
And then just common sense, like keywords and shit like that people are looking up. Best black and gray artists. Throw them words in there. You know what I mean? People are looking for that type of stuff. So, yeah, man, Google's awesome. It's been great.
When did you guys start doing that?
Right off the bat, right away. Yeah, it was one of the first things I did because that's something, from traveling and working in, well over 100 tattoo shops all over the fucking world, talking to shop owners and like, a lot of these shop owners became good friends. You know what I mean? Like I was picking shop owners' brains 10 years before I opened the shop. Like, how's this work? I always wanted to know how it worked. I want to know every aspect of tattooing, even the business part. So yeah, I heard about the Google shit, like 2010 or something like that. And I was like,
the good old days.
It was always in the back of my mind where I was like, okay, all right, remember that, Google. And yeah, dude, I jumped on it immediately. And right away, it started working. Because I think, you have people in Kyle that were in Buda, this other little town beside us, that they were looking up tattoos just like every other town. And they were getting San Marcos and Austin. Then all of a sudden, they put in the word tattoo and there's one half a mile away. And they're like, oh, fuck, I wonder if they're any good. Then they go look at the work and they're like, holy shit, this is the spot, And that's what I heard for the first couple years is, why are you here? People would come in, they'd see the way we did the shop and they'd see the work and they're like, why are you in Kyle? I'm like, well, because I don't have to be in Austin. Why not Kyle? You know what I mean? Like, why do I have to be in some big city spending all this goddamn money on overhead? Why?
Yeah, especially if you can get your name out to the people around there. When you started, did you teach yourself how to run all these ads?
Yeah.
That's one thing I wish more studio owners would do, and why we put on free webinars to teach them. Everybody sees, Facebook ads and Google ads. Like, obviously, we want people to work with us. It's what we do. But it's not hard to teach yourself, and you have such a leg up on the competition. And you don't even have to be an expert in it. You can run like a smart campaign on Google and watch YouTube videos for how to do it. And like it's easy.
You can teach yourself how to build a goddamn computer on YouTube. You don't think you don't think you teach yourself how to make a Google ad on YouTube? that
Yeah.
they're actually only like 2-minute videos, you know? So yeah, I think it's a lot of being proactive and thinking about these things. You know, I think a lot of people open a shop and they're like, "Man, my work's good. I got clients. I'll be good." You know, and then it's like, well, yeah, you're doing just as good as you were, but now you got all this fucking overhead, so you're actually doing worse than you were. You know, you got to find ways to elevate it and look at it as a business. Every single tattoo artist is a walking business. We all are self-employed. We are our own entity, you know? And I think a lot of people a lot of tattooers look at themselves as just tattoo artists. It's like, no, man, you are your business. You're the whole thing. You're the tattoo artist. You're the fucking booking agent. You're the manager. You're the financer. You're everything, you know? And yeah, I mean, it's hard to start looking at yourself as a business and approaching tattoo decisions that way, because I don't think any of us got into tattooing to be a businessman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To this because we're fucking rebels and didn't want to fucking work and just, wanted to fuck off and have fun and tattoo and make money and like just enjoy life. But yeah, I mean, getting into the business aspect, I was even one of those questions, it was the hardest thing the first year of being open was really the business, learning the business. And if I had to pick one thing, it'd really be taxes. Taxes is the most important thing, I think, for every tattooer to like really know about. And spend money on a financial advisor, spend some money on a good accountant. Don't go to fucking H&R Block,
Yeah.
Really know your business and know how it's supposed to be ran right, because that's the only way it's going to grow.
Along with that, hiring a tax accountant and stuff like that. Again, I talk to a lot of people and they see it as an expense, not an investment. Like that tax accountant, I guarantee you, is going to save you money over you doing it yourself. Like, yeah, they might cost a few $100s, but I bet they save you a couple thousand. So
Funny thing is like, it trips me out because if you're doing it all right, and like, it blows my mind. Just like the advertising, people look at it as a waste of money, essentially. Like, bro, it's a waste of money. I'm not gonna spend money on Google. I'm not gonna spend money on a fucking accountant. $100, go to fucking H&R Block and they'll do it, right? But like, your accountant says, hey, this is gonna be $3,500 for this like tax credit thing, and they're gonna fill it out for you, but you might get back like $9,000. $3,700. That's all they hear. They're like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna spend that. It's fine. I'm not gonna spend that. It's like, I mean, and that's essentially like what buying a financial advisor and what buying, like, paying for an accountant and stuff is. Like, you're giving them a small percentage of your money and guaranteed they're gonna get you more money. You know what I mean? So like the money management and the business and the taxes is super, super crucial. I think everybody needs to understand that. It's something they don't teach you in school. Nobody's taught any of this tax shit. That's one of those things and again, you can Google this and find this shit out. How do I run a business? How do taxes work with self-employment? All this stuff is available for people to learn about.
yeah. One of the things I also like about hiring a tax accountant or investing in paid media is you get to learn the numbers from it. Like, if you give that tax accountant $3,000, they're going to save you 13,000. Or if you're in Google, like, I guarantee how much you need to spend to get a new client into a chair. And after you know those numbers, you can scale it. Like, that's just need to know the numbers, or the lifetime value of a client. Like, if you have somebody sit in your chair, what are they going to spend in your shop over the next 5 years on average?
Yeah. And that's the shit that I'm still learning. Like those down to the fucking penny type shit, Like it's I mean, it's all there on taxes and I'm sure I could figure it out. But it's a lot. It gets to a point where it's a lot. You know what I mean? Like it's better off just to hand it off to somebody that really knows what they're doing and just go, hey, just fucking handle this for me. I can't deal with it.
Delegating is the only way to keep yourself sane in your business moving forward.
Yeah. So many businesses fail because they just try to do it all. You can't be everything to everyone at all times. And if you're trying to run a successful business like that, I mean, you're going to crash and burn, or it's going to crash and burn. It's just not manageable.
It's not. And then, I know when I started hiring employees and delegating stuff, and I'm sure you kind of went through the same thing. It's hard when you start because this is your baby. Like, you made this. This is yours. It's your pride and joy, and it can be definitely hard to hand it off to somebody else and trust them. But after you realize how much more of your time that frees up, it's game changing.
Oh, it is. And then, yeah, it's hard to let go because that's what it feels like you're doing. Once you like get past that and you actually kind of go, okay, I'll let go. You realize you didn't really let go. Still in control of shit. You can still see it. You still essentially manage stuff. You're just not having to put all that time and stress into it anymore. You know?
Yeah, and I think that's also one of the best ways to have a good work-life balance is, we've all done the 80-hour weeks when we first started. After, you can only do that for so long, man, and then you're either burnt out or you become a cranky asshole the rest of your life. Those are the two things that happen.
Shit'll make you bitter.
It will. As I said, in the first, I guess, year or 2 years of when you opened your studio, what were the biggest unexpected things you ran into?
I mean, really, yeah, the management aspect, like, because I mean, the big thing for me was always having a manager. That was something I learned in other shops traveling around. The best shops I ever went to had a manager, and just really learning the management part. My fiance opened the shop with me. She's been great. She's been a great partner the whole time. She started out as the manager when there was 4 of us. And, it was me and her just kind of doing it together. And then I had my accountant that was kind of helping me with shit. And then like really hiring people was tough. Like when we realized, because I always knew it would get to a point where, okay, you can't do this anymore. We have to have somebody. Because I've also been in shops that have a bunch of artists and the wife is doing the everything, and it's not professional, in my opinion. It gets to a certain point where it doesn't work. And I think in a smaller scale, it's okay, but it gets to the point where you just look at her as the boss's wife. And I don't want that to be the case. So that's when I was like, let's get another manager in here. And so now Becca is like, always been co-owner, but now she oversees the management. She hires the manager and the shop help, and she makes sure they're doing what they need to do. So even that, I don't really have to look over like that aspect of it, and that was the hardest part. But at this point now, it's the only way we made it. It's the only way we made it through COVID. It's the only way that me and her were able to go to California for my buddy's wedding for 5 days and not call the shop once, not get a call from the shop once. Nothing went wrong at all. And I trusted that. I didn't even think about it. I knew the shop was running smooth. I knew everything was good, and I think that's the true measure of like owning a business. There's a difference in owning your job and owning a business. And I just heard this phrase when I went and visited some family up in Minnesota, was the fishing test. Can your business survive the fishing test? Can you go fishing for 2 weeks and come back and your business is still fine? Or do you have to be there for it to run? Because if you have to be there, you don't own your own business. You own your job. You have the freedom for your job, but you have to be there if it fails, Yeah. So knowing that I can pass the fishing test I think that's like that's a feeling that makes it secure, because as owning a business, you always have this doubt, this worry, especially after the pandemic. It's always just this, what's going to happen. So it's good to kind of feel like, okay, Feel like we're good. Feel like don't have to stress so much. Maybe we made it. I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
still that doubt, but I've been learning to kind of like not stress about everything so much, and like Becca and the management and artists, everybody's doing what they need to do. So it's good. It took us almost 7 years to get here, but we're here.
Yeah, man, that's an incredible feeling knowing that, if something happened to you or if there was an emergency, you can leave. Or if you just want to take a vacation, like you said, man. Dude, in January, I went to Puerto Rico for 2 weeks. I got one Slack message from my team, and that was it. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, 5 minutes. That's all you had to do was answer a message. You're like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
feeling.
It's amazing. And like you said, there's always worry with owning a business. There's always a worry. I mean, obviously the pandemic fucked everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. So there's always the worry that what if it happens again, or what if something happens to me, or what if I have to leave? But knowing that you could leave and you would still have your business running is uh, peace of mind that not a lot of people have, but it is one of the best feelings I think you can have, at least with a business.
Yeah. And, to tie that to the tattooers, I think a lot of tattooers don't take advantage of that. There's a lot of tattooers that are making a lot of good money, and they're not in a position to do that. There's a lot of shops that wouldn't survive that 2-week test, and it goes back to the Google and the hiring the people and the letting go. I think those are two of the most important things you can do. Even just as a tattooer, you don't even have to own a shop to have an assistant. I mean, if you're that busy, you know what I mean? Like I think every tattooer at some point needs to try and find a way to like take some of the weight off their shoulders, especially once you get to like a busy point. You're getting 100 emails a week or whatever it is. It's too much,
Yeah. And that kind of goes back into everybody thinks it's this like sexy, fun job. You're like, man, you're only tattooing a fraction of the week, and the rest is things that aren't quite as enjoyable.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah. What do you think about where the tattoo industry is going? I mean, it's projected to double in the next 5 or 6 years. Yeah, it's crazy. It's becoming a huge thing. So it's supposed to go from, I think it's like 1.6 billion last year to I want to say 2028, it's supposed to be a little over 3 billion. Yeah. So right now, at least how I see it, is shops can get by with word of mouth. Shops can, just do referrals. What is it going to be like in 6 years when there's double amount of shops in all locations? Then you have the guys and girls that were in their 20s, millennials that know all about social media, that know about Facebook ads and Google ads. All of a sudden, they're the ones owning shops. People are going to adapt, or they're going to, not grow.
And I think you're already seeing that. Even my generation, I wasn't a teenager, but I was early 20s. Oh, what's Instagram? Like my career grew with Instagram, and like I learned it as I went along, and like you're starting to see a lot more people, like 30 to 40-year-olds that have shops that are doing all this Instagram shit. Do I think it's going to get more intense? For sure. Do I think that the next wave, and you're already seeing it a little bit. You've seen it a little bit over the past 10 years, really, with certain artists. But I think the next wave, as sad as it is to say, is going to be the viral tattooer, the influencer tattooer. Like the 50 million followers, 80 million followers. You know what I'm saying? The Jake Pauls of tattooing. That's what I think it's going to be. I mean, that's where the world's going with kind of everything. I mean, if we're talking marketing and this doubling of what the industry is and where society is, I don't really see any other route other than this viral social media TikTok shit. I think that'll be the next big wave. I mean, you already see it with tattooers that aren't that good. I mean, some of them are bad. You could just say bad. On TikTok that just have their cell phone number. They got fucking 10 million followers, and they just fucking post after post after post, like tattooing on couches, old wooden chairs, tattooing outside, just busted ass flash tattoos. Booked. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
there's
nothing to do with the tattoo. All it has to do with is the TikToks and the funny jokes and the comments he makes when he's smoking a blunt in between tattoos. The fact that maybe he's tattooing without gloves and he said something funny. Like, this is this kind of the dumbing down of everything, you know?
yeah. Really quick, can you hear that?
A little bit. I heard, was it a truck drive by or something?
No, they're renovating the office space next to us. It's been like 4 months.
No, okay. Nah, I can barely hear.
Okay, cool. Because I have noise canceling on, but it's loud as shit to me. So I mean, I agree. It's it's that there's that saying: is it better to be the best or the best known? And obviously, there's a happy medium there, which is where I think people should be. But being the best known is always going to be, you could be the most amazing artist ever, but if nobody knows who you are, and this guy can barely draw stick figures, but people love him, guess who's going to be booked out?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's even a part of me that there's a little part of me that's thought about doing this. Like making another Instagram, different name, doing these tattoos and just posting them on this page. Like, the little bullshit, some kind of blown out, kind of not blown out. Was it Sean from Texas? You know that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like, and then just seeing how hard I could push it. You know what I'm saying? Like just a weird little nickname for my handle, and just to see if just pushing it with the fucking crazy amount of ads, how much just dumb little tattoos I don't care about, essentially, how far that page would go. And I feel like it would do pretty good if you just promote the fuck out of it. Make a little YouTube channel to go with it. Show you putting on fucking stencils with cool lighting. It gets all that matters now. Like, it's the same reason you can't even get likes on a photo on Instagram anymore. You got to have a video. And you can't just have a video. You got to have a video that the algorithm sees that there's cuts and there's fades and there's all this weird shit going on. There's got to be some text maybe across the screen at some point. It's got to be a produced fucking video. Or no one's even going to see it. It's not even popping up in their feed. So selling is going to be more important than what you're selling. Selling the product is going to be more important than the product, which it kind of there's always been a little bit of that in every industry, I think, but it's going to be sad to see that with tattooing when it's just, if you don't have 1 million followers or if you haven't tattooed 10, 15 celebrities, you're just not really that important. Doesn't really matter what you're doing. You're just a normal tattooer. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I agree. I think that's where it's going. And, but the fact that, you and other artists are actually recognizing that, again, being the best and the best known and just a happy medium, man, I think that's is really all it's going to take. And I do think over the next couple of years, marketing, paid marketing, I mean, right now it's almost taboo in the tattoo industry. Like, people hear marketing, oh, I don't need that, I don't need that. And I think in the next couple of years, people will adapt or die. It's going to become a necessity because it's going to become so much more competitive. And people like yourself that have really jumped on it before, it became everybody doing it, is going to be how you survive and how you grow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be really like, I mean, even if you just start, if you had a shop for 10 years, you never advertise, you just want to start advertising right now. It's a lot of catch up for these shops that have been advertising for the past 10 years. So I think it's just like saving for the future. The sooner in life you start doing it, the better. It's just with advertising. The sooner you start doing it, the longer your name will be exposed, the more you'll be out there. But I think with the tattooers, there's a lot of cocky fucks these days. You know, 20, 30,000 followers. Like, bro, those followers were free. These are people who free. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got 30,000 motherfuckers that would get tattooed for me. Why am I going to pay for people to see my shit? There's 30,000 people seeing my shit. You know, it's just,
Yeah,
so it's a different mentality now.
it really is, man. And I'll let you go here pretty soon. I know I've had you over an hour.
Of course, man. Good talking to you.
Yeah, no, I've enjoyed this. It's always good to meet a studio owner that actually does paid marketing. So I don't get to have these conversations a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure. A lot of these conversations, are you trying to convince somebody it's a good idea? It's like, I mean, it works. Trust me.
yeah. I don't even try anymore, man. I don't even try anymore. If I
Yeah.
that's like, I swear, like religions, politics, marketing. People have drawn their line in the sand, whether what their stance on it is. So I don't. If they
Oh,
want it, we talked about it. But yeah,
I could find a way to get all three of those into one debate, and I'd have fun talking about it.
oh man. So, and I'm guessing I know where this is going. But if you had one solid piece of advice for studio owners looking to grow over the next couple of years, what would it be?
Yeah, advertise. I mean, advertise, market, do the Google advertising. And I mean, what I can't stress enough for young tattooers that have been doing it forever, and shop owners, whatever, focus on your taxes and your finances. I can't stress enough the taxes. It blows my fucking mind how many tattooers and some of the names of these tattooers that don't fucking do their taxes, or they do them really fucking wrong, you know? And I've known some big tattooers that have been busted for that shit, and they've lost the fucking sports cars, and they've lost the mansion and all this shit that they spent all this fucking money on that they could have kept if they would have just paid their fucking taxes, you know? So finances, plan for the future. Sounds stupid to tell a tattooer, because I've seen the looks on their faces when I tell them, get a 401k, plan for the future, incorporate yourself, give yourself paychecks, just like a job. Let them take out the Social Security, let them take out the Medicare, let them take out all the shit they went to federal income taxes. Take it all out of your check, because every month tattooers get this money, they spend this money, and the next month they get the money and they spend the money, and you're spending money that ain't yours. Like that, you're spending the fucking government's money. And I hate the government. I'm not here to fucking try and preach for the IRS. I can't stand the fucking IRS. but you gotta focus on that shit, right? Because also, I mean, you want to be able to go out and get a loan to expand, to knock the wall out and expand your shop. They're going to look at your fucking tax returns. They're going to look at your actual income and your profit and loss forms and all of this stuff. And I think that shop owners need to focus on that shit a lot more. You want to grow your business, you got to run your business right.
Yeah, and with taxes, I mean, it may not catch up to you this year, next year, 5 years, 10 years, but eventually they're going to figure it out. And also, like, I think everybody hates IRS. Motherfuckers, they take so much of my money. But, yep, what are you going to do? You know, it's, you pay them or you go to jail eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it's shitty. It's why we got roads and stoplights and fucking garbage men and hospitals and shit. Bite the bullet, pay taxes.
Yep, agree. Wait, man, I really appreciate you taking this time with me, man. That was a great talk. Honestly, one of my favorites I've had.
Cool.
Yeah, again, it's rare for me to find somebody that's actually running paid ads that I can have a conversation with that about, that like understands like this is an investment, and you can, Do it for 3 months, 6 months. Hire somebody if you don't want to do it. Learn to do it yourself. Um, but after 3 to 6 months, you're gonna know how much you need to pay to get a new client in a seat, and then from there, it's just a numbers game.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it's like the purple mattress. Try it for 90 days. And if you don't like it, send it back. Give it the purple mattress challenge. Give it 3 months. Because guaranteed after 3 months of really doing it, you're going to be busier. You're going to see the results. It's impossible not to, you know, it really is.
Agreed, man. Well, again, thank you so much for your time, dude.
Really, man, I appreciate it. It's good talking to you.
Good talking to you as well. When I get this, when we post it and everything, I'll let you know. If it's okay with you, I might grab some stuff off your Instagram and then website just to make a little promo video for it that we'll put out the week before it comes out.
Man, sounds good. If you need to send anything over too, let me know. I can have them mail some photos or something.
Okay.
Right.
Cool, man. Again, massively appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, man. Good talking to you.
You too. Bye.
Later.